he had evidently quite a good musical education. When his voice cracked and he had to leave the opera, he went to the conservatory.
Yeah.
And he himself said he got a rather superficial theoretical background, but he evidently learned to be a good pianist.
Yeah.
I mean, evidently, we know he was a beautiful pianist.
Already in
Yeah, very flexible, very beautiful, sensual sound. It was all just fine. And evidently, already, when he was still in Russia, he began to play for the movies. Beginning, it's certainly true. It was, you know, more than losing interest in the religious aspect. I think there was a real, revulsion. There was a real, you know, rejection.
Yes.
Yeah, and as if it were a burden that he couldn't get rid of soon enough.
Yes.
Then coming back, you know, I mean, his whole life. It's clear to me his whole life was lived with, above all, with the relation, with the concern with the relation of man and God.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, in generic terms, I don't know how you get closer to a profound religious expression than that. After that, you begin to become particular in which religion, which branch of the religion, and so on and so forth. But that's the essence of religious thinking. And many of those poets I knew growing up. I didn't know their significance, but they would be around the house.
Oh, that's cool.
Minkoff, of course, and Elkin and Hirshbein and Pinsky and all of them. But that's already much later. I mean, the meeting with the...
1929 is when he, right.
Well, and that's when I was born, in 1929. Yes. I don't know exactly how, whether it was one single individual who convinced him that Yiddish would be something important. I don't know, for example, whether it could have been the light of being in the presence of Perez Hirshbein. But in the meantime, it seems to me that letter that he wrote to what's his name the composer?
Oh, Engel.
To Engel was a kind of turning point. The story was that he sent off some of his songs to Engel, whom he greatly admired. I don't know how well he knew him. I don't know what he was expecting. And I think the combination of encouragement and rejection made a very deep impression. Yes. The rejection being, well, young man, you know, you have talent, but what are you doing? What is this? Why don't you? And the minute you say, why don't you, there's a rejective aspect to it. Mm-hmm. Why not think about your heritage? Why not think about the sources of, you know, that there is a very rich heritage that you can draw on to really make the foundation of your art. And I think that suddenly was a light that went on, and then he began to concern himself with Yiddish.